Welcome to our last session of the day with Dipti Desai. She is the CEO and co-founder at Crstl. Crstl's no-code EDI solution helps modern brands get started on shelves at your favorite retailers and online marketplaces. So if you have any questions about launching, on shelves, in-store, online with any retailers, definitely drop your questions in the chat. And with that, I can pass it over to you, Dipti.
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay, and thank you to the ShipBob team. Awesome to be here with everyone, and they've saved the best for last, obviously. So great to again meet everyone virtually. Are there any questions at the onset? Okay. So maybe I'll just very quickly launch, and I'd love to sort of keep this, interactive, et cetera. So what I'll do is I'll start by sharing a couple sort of visuals to just anchor this conversation into something that that you guys can sort of see and wrap your heads around for more context, and then we can go from there. So Crstl, we describe Crstl today as a modern B2B commerce network. And really the immediate problem that we solve at hand, especially as so many of brands across different product categories are looking to either go omni-channel, or their business is scaling. They're already in various retailers, marketplaces, et cetera, but their current solution isn't keeping up with their needs. That's where Crstl comes in. The EDI part here is relevant because it is the data language that a lot of retailers, warehouses, et cetera, use to speak, right, and communicate and exchange data with each other. As a side note, EDI is not per se a technology. It is more like a data language, sort of like SMTP or POP3 in the email world, right? So if you're using Superhuman or Gmail, you're not necessarily thinking as much about the protocols underlying those products and how it all works. You just sort of go in there and do your thing, receive emails, send emails, whatever it might be. And that's a lot of how we think about the Crstl product and platform. So what you're looking at here is this is very much presented from the perspective of a brand. Maybe you're working with ShipBob already, and you're primarily selling direct to consumer, whether through Shopify or in some cases Magento, BigCommerce, et cetera. And you've been making your way sort of into more kind of omni-channel. That's where Crstl comes in, right? So on the left-hand side of this picture, what you're seeing is Crstl's ability to get you up and running with pretty much any retailer or an online marketplace that leverages EDI, and pretty much most major ones do. And the ones you're seeing here in the picture are just a few different examples. Today we have everything from kayaks to pizza ovens to food and beverage, mattresses, right? You name it, and every type of product category is being sold into retailers and marketplaces because of Crstl, right? And that's what the left-hand side shows. And typically, we can get the brand up and running with any of these retailers in 2 weeks or less. Sometimes it's faster than that, but we like to sort of lead with a more measured SLA there, which is about 2 weeks, right? And with that ability on the left-hand side, what that enables you to do is, right, so for example, let's say you land the Target key account, and we get you up and running on Target. This is now how you can receive your purchase orders from Target. This can, by the way, be wholesale, so you can be shipping straight to their distribution center. This can be Target.com, so product is actually being sent to the consumer's doorstep, or it could even be direct store delivery, right, for Target in this case. So with Crstl, we support all of those different fulfillment flows. On our end, it is our job, we think, to understand all of the unique requirements and sort of gnarliness that has to be accounted for depending on the fulfillment type and your product category, and are there mixed pallets involved, or there's a myriad of sort of scenarios there. But we think it's our responsibility to worry about all of that, so you can purely worry about actually growing your business, which is selling into these different retailers and marketplaces. So receiving of the order, sending of the acknowledgements, sending the ship notice, printing the GS1 128 labels compliant with the retailer's requirements, packing slips, et cetera, and then also sending the invoice to the retailer. We also support pretty much every and any type of EDI document that the retailer may or may not need. So this includes, things like the remit debit notifications. In the case of dropship, there's, the 846, which is like a daily inventory feed that needs to be sent to the retailer or marketplace. There is planning schedules, 830. Then even for POs, is this a regular purchase order or is this a grocery type purchase order, right? So there's a lot in there. This is a very simplified version of the workflow, but rest assured that Crstl can support any and every quote unquote document type that the retailer provides. And really our SaaS application, which when you guys sign up for a demo with us, we'll be happy to walk you guys through it in detail. But this is sort of that visual that our SaaS application allows, right? And I'll talk about our API product as well, which I know we're using in conjunction with the ShipBob team and things like that. So what you looked at here was the left-hand side of the equation. And then if any brand has to take us seriously, given what their expectations are, needs are, and what our role is in all of this, they expect that we will integrate with systems typically related to inventory and finance, right? So that includes things like inventory management systems, that includes accounting systems, whether QuickBooks or even NetSuite, and WMSs, right? So ShipBob, as an example, if that's who you're working with on the fulfillment side, then we have a native integration with ShipBob, and the idea is that all of the important and mission critical data about the order, about the shipment, et cetera, is flowing back and forth very, very seamlessly, right? And then one sort of quick thing I'll also add is that there's a common misconception. One common misconception is that EDI is a technology. I sort of touched on that a little bit earlier. It's a data language, acts more like a protocol than a piece of tech. That's one. The second is that sometimes there's a misconception that all one is doing here is translating data from one format to another. And maybe that's what other providers do, but that is not what Crstl does, right? We worry, like I said, about every detail in terms of how the order is written by the retailer and how do you simplify it so that when it shows up in your Crstl account, it is very, very easy to understand how to complete all of these subsequent steps to compliantly fulfill the order and invoice the retailer in a timely manner. There's a lot of business logic, effectively, right? That goes well above and beyond any just translation or any PDF that you might see. That all is sort of the artifact, and what we make available is one of many things to make the user's life easy. But the business logic and the very specific requirements that the retailers have, and the very specific business processes that every brand has. Those are all of the details that we worry about and more importantly, solve for through our product and platform. And then very quickly, touching on the API products. So for a lot of, SMB brands, the SaaS application, which accounts for the left side retailer connectivity and the right side systems integrations, is all available and possible very, very easily through our SaaS application. It's a cloud-based UI-based product. We also have an API-based product that a lot of larger brands use, or WMSs use, and other companies use, because that is how they gain the ability to understand and work with and work around these different retailer and marketplace requirements at a very fine level, granular level, a level of detail, right? Also, again, happy to share more about this. Anyone, myself or one of our team members, would be super happy to share more sort of offline. So I'll pause there. I know we have a limited amount of time, and see if anyone has any questions, and then I can address in more detail.
Yeah, it does look like we have one question in the chat. I don't know if we need to expand upon this at all, but does Crstl deal with sales and services as well?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Gagandeep. Before I make any assumptions about your question, would you be able to maybe elaborate on that? Are you referring to getting into Target, for example, like landing that key account? Is that what you mean by the sales and service piece, or something else?
And I guess, well, we have the stage, we have a few minutes left. Are there any key considerations, I guess, when brands are looking to launch into, like you said, Target or even Target Plus online? Any I don't want to say challenges, but like obstacles that you see people facing time and time again that would, you can quickly sort of touch on and see how brands here could overcome?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a very key sort of area of investment that brands should make when they go omni-channel is to really make sure that they are thinking about operational excellence, right? In our experience, brands, are pretty good about, having ad spend and thinking about marketing budgets and marketing dollars and things like that. But they severely underinvest in operational excellence. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't have to over-engineer anything. But many times brands end up thinking that we're the ones doing the fulfillment for them or running their business. And, that's not the case, right? The business still has to run its own business and know kind of, their customers and all of that backwards and forwards. But I do think that a common pattern and mistake that is a very expensive mistake, it's a penny wise, pound foolish sort of move in my opinion, is that brands tend to invest in operational excellence and over-index on, some of these other things, which end up not just biting them and costing them in the long run. Actually, you can see the immediate impact of those underinvestments right out the gate. So that's one that I would highly recommend. Brands kind of close that gap before they go omni-channel. Just to maybe answer Gagandeep's question, I'll just make some assumptions here in terms of what that means. If the question in terms of sales and service is pertaining to actually landing that target key account, for instance, that is not something Crstl does directly today. Although we have, a number of brands, that use our platform, and they tend to work with a number of different brokers and agencies that have helped them expand into or land kind of that key account. So we're always happy to kind of play matchmaker, and it's not something we, charge a fee for or anything like that. It is just, we are a B2B commerce network, and so connectivity is very much in our DNA. And so whether that's connecting systems or connecting people, that is something that's our bread and butter. That's just something inherently we love to do. So we'd be happy to make those introductions.
We have one more question. Can Crstl map off invoice deductions to O2C supply chain steps versus contract?
Yeah, it's a good question. It is on the roadmap. So yeah, we'd be. I'd love to connect with you offline. Our team would too. We have some active kind of thinking and behind the scenes work going on this front. So not right now, but very much on the roadmap.
Amazing. Yeah, we can help facilitate some of those intros. I'll get you their emails, Dipti, if you want to drop your email in the chat too, or someone on your team, and they can reach out to you. If there are any other last minute questions, we can probably get one more in if anyone wants to drop one in the chat. There we go. It looks like a few people want to connect. So Dipti, I'll follow up with you after and get you their emails, and you can get connected. So thank you again so much for joining us. This is such a relevant topic right now. We're seeing brands who were originally like D2C only going in stores and vice versa. I think omnichannel is going to be a huge lever for brands to pull through the rest of the year, and Crstl will be a major key to unlocking that kind of success. So definitely reach out to Dipti if you have any questions. You can go over to their virtual booth. Crstl has a booth. Drop your questions there. We will make sure Dipti and her team get connected with you. Thank you for sticking around with us all day today. I hope that you walked away with some findings and insights and things you can unlock in your own strategy for omnichannel success. I want to say congratulations to our last winner, Brianna at Michael Stars. You've stuck around all day asking great questions in the chat. So we will follow up. You won a $75 Visa gift card. So congratulations again, Dipti. Thank you for joining us. And you're right, saved the best for last. This was such relevant information. So yeah, thank you again for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.